And we'll get into sustainability in a second. But I was really excited when I read that, you were really interested in sourcing these materials in a way that you're like made sense for you and your mission. And with that said, I was also excited when I read to find out that your products are totally vegan and cruelty free, because that is something that is a big part of my life and something that I definitely want to help other people to realize is important when they're looking at their skincare. Because one of the things I say about the whole cruelty-free label now, which seems to get on more and more products, which I love, is the fact of this. Think back to a time before we had such a spotlight on, what it meant to be cruelty-free. And for people who are out there listening and may not know, cruelty-free means that the product has not been tested on animals. Okay. So think about anything caustic in your life that you've ever used, whether it's a product or a cleaning solution. Up until a couple of years ago, all of those products were tested on animals. And the way they did that was on an animal's skin or in their eyes or injecting it into their body. And by the way, none of this is consensual. The animals are not saying volunteering for this. And that was honestly something that really got me so involved in the vegan movement, was knowing that this stuff was done to animals and people didn't know about it. That, in laboratories, what they actually do when they're testing, makeup that would be put on people, they would actually cut the eyelids off rabbits and animals like that and insert these caustic, products into their eyes just to see the level of irritation. And when I first heard that story as a teenager, I was so horrified. And as I tell people that story now, they don't believe me. I'm like, no, that's what it means. So I'm like, please, at least if you don't live a vegan lifestyle, look for products that are cruelty free and
Mm-hmm.
educating them. So I was so happy. And I really wanted to just highlight that you took it to that step too, and making sure your products are ethically, humanely, and cruelty free, created.
Yes, and also and when you mention cruelty free and you see all the labels, there are different standards of cruelty free. Now, I'm Leaping Bunny certified cruelty free. Leaping Bunny, first of all, I have to recertify every year. Some other organizations, it's one and done. You get that cruelty free once, you do it once, and then that's it. Every year, I have to recertify with Leaping Bunny. And also with Leaping Bunny, my whole supply chain has to be cruelty free. So I have to send a form. I have to send an electronic form to all of my suppliers, and they have to fill that out, saying that they're cruelty free. So this is why, like there's different, like that's why I'm just saying there's different levels of, and that's why I chose Leaping Bunny. People might say, oh, you got to do it every year. Or I just rather do this one over here where you just do it one and done, and that's it. But your suppliers change. Like even now, my suppliers change. Sometimes this supplier can't get something or their prices might go up. So I have to find another supplier. And some of the certifying organizations don't take that into consideration. And they trust the organization or the people or the brand that, okay, I'm going to trust that you're going to continue to be cruelty free. But Leaping Bunny is like, oh, no, no, no. Every year we want you to recertify, and if you add a new supplier, as a matter of fact, now even before I even order, because I do have some new suppliers. And even before I order from them, I send them the form first. I call them and say, hey, look, I'm looking to order from you. I am Leaping Bunny certified cruelty free. I need you to fill this out first before I place my order. And they will. And it's an electronic form. They get it. I email it to them. They fill it out. I check my Leaping Bunny file, my account, and say, okay, form was received. And then I place my order.
That's
And
amazing.
so,
Thank you for sharing that. I wasn't even
mhm,
aware of all of the steps that needed to be taken for that, for the Leapy Bunny certification. And that's
yes.
great to hear, because you're right, suppliers change. And then, you want to make sure you still have the same messaging that you had intended from the beginning. And I do understand that, people are now becoming aware of it and really searching that out with products. I do look for that on all of my products now.
Right, right. Because sometimes, there's a brand can be cruelty free, but some of the ingredient, and that's what they were finding, is that their ingredients, when they went back to the supply chain, oh, but this XYZ ingredient that you got from ABC supplier, they're not cruelty free. Or they found that sometimes the subsidiary might be cruelty free, but the parent company, because a lot of these large multinational corporations own smaller, distributors, supply chains. So sometimes they were not cruelty free. So that's why I'm saying with Leaping Bunny, everybody through that whole supply chain line has to be cruelty free.